What's up, everybody? It's your boy, KAI. That's right. And this is the Kai Greene Effect. We're in a great place today because we're on the road, still getting back. It's been a long way back. And Vlad, how you feeling today?
Good, man. You've been traveling nonstop, right? You've been away for like 2 weeks now?
Actually, three, technically. I was on the road just before the Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've been moving around ever since. Ever since.
So I want to get your opinion on this Nick Walker situation. He was in the news heavy last week, actually. So after placing sixth at the Olympia, he got back to I guess New Jersey, and then him and his coach had a fallout. He basically got rid of his coach, Kyle. I know Kyle well. He's a great coach, actually, and Nick is a great athlete. There's no question about it. So immediately after Olympia, Kyle made a video where he took blame for Nick's placement. They were disappointed at number six, and then I guess Nick was gonna announce that he's doing Arnold Classic, and then literally 2 days later, Nick said he no longer has a coach, and now they went back and forth with each other, I guess, on social media. What is your take on this situation? It's not a great, obviously. I like both of those guys, but in your opinion, right? Do you think that there should be loyalty between a coach and an athlete, or rather, athlete should have a loyalty to the coach? What do you take on the whole situation?
So here's the thing: your success or failure always belongs to you. It doesn't even
Of
matter.
course, of course,
Doesn't matter who your friends are or
sure.
who's on the judging panel or you know the relationship that he has with his coach. I think those relationships actually end up becoming very very personal anyway. And they're subject to peaks and valleys. Two people can have a difference of opinion now and next week, and then 2 years from now, they come together and do their thing and work their magic again and do something else, and then it'll be a headline again, because both of these personalities are in the spotlight. you
But you
know
stay. You stayed with your coach. You stay with George Farah, and after not winning the Olympia 1 year, two. I mean, you stay with him, right? You stay with him.
well,
Is that because? What was the reason why you stayed with him? Because it was loyalty, or was it because you felt like he was a good coach for you, regardless of placement?
here's the thing. Shakespeare, he talked about, to thine own self be true. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times people will talk about loyalty and not really be clear on what the term loyalty means, and understand that it may be very different from person to person. You know what I mean? Being able to share a vision that's in alignment, with the person, or to work on a team effort, with people that share a like mind and common vision, is important. And if there should come a time when that changes, you may need to step away. And if you do, I don't think it becomes a question of, you know, not being loyal as much as it may, like, your parents may love you, but at some point you're supposed to grow up and move out,
Mm,
you know, and sometimes to stay there, despite the fact that you're supposed to grow up and have your own,
right,
just in your own process of maturation.
right.
Someone may say, well, that's not being loyal to your mama. It's not. Go ahead and stay dependent on the mama breast. Suck on that. Stay there a little bit longer. You don't
Whoa,
need the
whoa,
feast.
whoa! Come on,
I'm just saying, we
Kyle.
do
Come
have a
on.
Patreon now, just in case.
But you staying with George Farah, that was to you, right? It's not because of loyalty, because it was business wise, it was good for your career, and it was good for he was delivering, and you were happy with the results, right? It was nothing to do with loyalty, right?
Well, people will call things loyalty or whatever, but I think at the end of the day, my relationship with George was a very very high valued thing, and with that, you know, um, it was important to always maintain an idea that would be favorable, within the integrity of my relationship. I would never want, somebody that was helpful and supportive to me as he were, to feel like I would deliberately, cut him or hurt him or try to cause his business, disruption or interruption. You know, because in a situation like that, particularly when George Farrow was my coach, I mean, the truth is, I was still a high profile, athlete in my sport.
Sure,
And
of course.
as we continued to work together and as I continued to see, breakthroughs happen in my career, as I continued to work, I think, you know, the higher you climb, the more spotlight, you may find yourself, with the pleasure and company of. And I think with that, there comes a lot more responsibility, because now if I didn't carry myself a certain way, you know, it wouldn't even matter how he felt. Technically, if you don't respond accordingly or act responsibly, your attempt to say something can actually hurt this man's business. You get what I'm saying?
Of course.
Um, um, and you know, thank goodness for me that every time that we did work together, when I put my hat in there competitively behind the scenes, you know, we were able to, come out on the winning side of being very, very successful. And with that, it allowed me to trust the fact that our vision were in alignment. It allowed me to believe more in the process. And it offered me peace of mind that helped me hold it together while, you know, I was working through some of the very challenging parts of the process that I think can be very, very interesting for a lot of athletes. You know, so yeah, being able to have a good peace of mind is very, very important. To be able to have developed a good support system. I remember getting ready for like 2016. I had three very important career building shows right back to back to back,
The Arnold's, yeah,
and
of course.
yeah, I mean, it was the first time in history that they were going to have like five Arnold Classics, one in every continent, and I was contractually signed to do three.
You
You
won them all.
know,
You won them all.
well, but you know what? A lot of that, I have to say, I remember working in the trenches of that. There was so much pressure and responsibility I felt, that sometimes the pressure in itself could wake you up in the middle of the night. It sits on your chest like a pregnant fat woman that won't let you
Whoa,
breathe.
God, come
Have you sit? I'm
on.
telling you, bro. I'm
God,
telling
come
you,
on.
Patreon, we got it.
Now, Kai, today I want to introduce our audience to this great supplement called G Fuel. It's an everyday supplement for energy, for endurance, for focus, and it has zero sugar, of course. Now, this company been on the market for a long time, but they improved their formula, so it's much better tasting. They've also added glycine to their formula for muscle strength and better recovery. Now, this is the product you take for energy, for focus, and endurance. It's amazing. It's an extremely clean formula. It has all the natural ingredients, it has zero sugar, and 140 milligrams of caffeine per serving. And it's packed with amino acids. And they have amazing flavors, so I recommend everybody go to gfuel.com and at the checkout, dial the code GI20 for the discount. Yo, were you upset when George Farah hit you with that bill for the first class flight to Australia?
Was I say that again?
Were you upset when George Farah sent you that invoice for the first class flight to Australia?
You know what? Looking back on it, so many years later, what I remember the tremendous peace of mind that I had when I had to, and I'm gonna be real honest, man, because there were times when I had to do a lot of traveling back then. And one of the things that, any athlete, working in this, in this field, that understands, some of the tricks to the trade, it is, there's nothing like being in a hotel room with a different lighting system than what you've been used to track and check and to make notes and assess and to feel blind, to literally feel blind, and to be able to trust that you had eyes with you that had been with you for the whole process and were helping you to land the plane. Now, especially when, as an athlete at the top of my game some years back, that was like I had a lot of money invested in this.
I
You know what I
know.
mean? Once you
I
start
know.
talking about a plane ticket for Mama and Nana and Coach and I mean, man, listen, these shows were expensive.
I
You
know,
start
man. It's
talking
crazy.
about
It's crazy.
it is unlike
A flight
anything
to
that.
Australia, bro. First class to Australia is like 10 G's, man. I remember your former manager was like, "What the hell, George Farah? We got to fly in first class to Australia." Uh,
Well,
that
you
was
know, I'm gonna be honest. For me, and this is one of those things that I believe Nick Walker is addressing when he is talking about his feelings that relate to this. Because very honestly, I think he's carried himself with a tremendous amount of integrity. And I think he's also a victim of living at a time when there used to be a time you used to have to wait 3 months before you could get the results for the Olympia. We used to wait 3 months for the issue of the magazine to be published, to
that's
hit your
crazy.
newsstand, and all that while, if you weren't privileged enough to have the kind of financial resources and the luxury time to be able to just jump on a plane and drop a few $1,000s for a weekend of VIP you know, expo and everything else, yo, man, you waited. You waited for 3 months to get the results.
Mm.
And you did it gladly. And you celebrated when you got those results. Anyway, I'm saying all of this to say that fast forward, you know, I believe, the athlete is in the position of passion,
No, of course, of
because you
course.
got all the responsibility on your shoulders. And listen, man, all of the fans, the sponsors, your ability to even talk about financially looking at what you can depend on as you start doing the numbers, running the numbers for your next, advance in the development of your career. Like gladiators on Monday morning, the day after the gladiatorial matches, there are athletes there like gladiators that are looking at injuries, they're assessing, financial costs. How far are you in the hole right now? Are you trying to afford chicken breast for the next 2 months?
Yeah.
Or are you like, hey, what, I'm just going, we're going to Frank and Beans it for a minute.
Do you think it's really messed up if, let's say, you have a coach, right? Because I know some athletes do it actually. Actually, George Farah told me that it happens in the industry.
Mm,
Let's say you have a coach, right? And the week of the competition, you start sending your pictures or talking to other coaches for second opinion
mhm.
without your coach knowing. George Farah told me actually this happens to him a lot. People send him pictures, like other athletes. They said, let's say another coach is coaching them, but they want to like get his opinion on it. Do you think that's kind of like cheating on your coach?
So here's the thing. It's a very interesting position for the coach because listen, everybody lies. Everybody lies. So you're a coach, you got all your eggs invested in this athlete. You want
Hmm.
him to do really, really well. You're giving him your time, you're investing your resources, everything that you think that you've been looking at. You got to step back and research again and again and come back at it with answers to every question that they have. Because athletes are nervous, they got their pride on the line, they got their feelings wrapped up into what they're doing. And now, guess what? In their quest for answers, they will eat up a lot of your time, your energy, and with saying all of that, the truth is every coach that's been working in this game long enough, they have to know that everything that they do, their athlete does not tell them everything to do. For everything that you write down on the program, your athlete will say, absolutely, boss, I'm doing exactly what you said. And the truth is, they're still cutting corners. They still have their own idea of what they think works better for their body. If you like, George could say, "Hey, man, I want you to do more grams of carbs than I was used to in the beginning of our program. My program by myself without him, I wasn't. There was certain um, there was certain it required commitments that at times I was not willing to make. The kind of
So you lied to him?
relinquishment of
Did you
all
lie to him?
authority.
Did you lie
Huh?
to him? Did you lie to George?
Well, what I'm saying is, in the beginning, our relationship and our ability to work together grew over time. You
Got it,
know,
got it, got it.
there was a time when I had a coach and a friend named Oscar Arden many, 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 many years before all of that.
I remember. They were in the Muslim Man's days, right?
Yeah, yeah. And now here's the thing that I realize as we're talking about this, you know, the whole idea of the coach. coach client relationship, I think especially when you're talking about like, being in the spotlight like that, I mean, I guess it can vary from individual to individual, but I know for me, these were very close personal relationships.
Yeah.
That were
What happened
almost
to that
like
guy,
a
man?
marriage.
What happened to that guy, Oscar? I was looking for him when we were doing your documentary. I needed to interview him, and everybody I talked to, the guy said the guy vanished. He like disappears for maybe a year, and then he reappears. What happened to him?
Wow, Kaiser Soze. Maybe we could do a new documentary like Finding Nemo. Nah, I think relationships go through peaks and valleys. I think people grow. We're still evolving and developing as men, and I think your relationship, as intimate as a relationship like that can become, I think they're still subject to the same kind of changes, and I think it's okay to be able to have a difference of opinion, and maybe even a difference in strategy. You may want to do it. I remember one of the things we used to do was sodium loading, and I think I've learned in my career since then that that's just not something that I was very comfortable with doing. And uh, I was fortunate enough to be able to discover other ways to kind of you know walk through my process of prep, and there was room to learn new things as well. And George was very, very, very helpful with a lot of that. But with saying this, you still have your own process of growing to do, and I think that just because we read stuff or hear one person say one thing or another, when they talk about the emotional relationship between those two men, I think that ultimately one of the things they don't want to do is hurt each other's business. Like as the athlete, this young man has to be able to speak positively in a way of talking about the direction of his career and still inspire the fans and people that believe in his campaign to continue to invest in that. So he has to talk a certain way in order to maintain that. That's just the truth.
Right.
But a lot of times what he may say in an effort to do that may not read as sensitive to the feelings and thoughts of, let's say, a person like his coach. And then the coach, in his effort to be, classy and dignified and still speak in a way that allows him to solidify his purpose and speak positively to the continued development of his business, he has to market and promote himself as well, and the value of the service that he offers.
Right.
And he definitely
Yeah.
doesn't benefit from other people hearing
Of
of
course.
some kind of discord between him and a high level
Of course.
client. So even though their emotions can get intense, the truth is, you know neither one of them want to speak negatively to each other's business. And I think
Yep.
a lot of times now, because you have, social media and live mics everywhere,
It's the
you
worst, man.
know,
The
it can
worst.
be very hard and very easy to inflame, one or the other's feelings. So
Yep.
I think at the end of the day, it's not a question of loyalty, because I don't think it's really a question of loyalty at all. I think that in the effort to be successful, a company that's looking to advance, they have to, be willing to throw things at the wall and see what sticks,
Yep.
and they may have to pivot very hard sometimes in order to restore themselves to profitability. And should they do that, the company's not going to be considered as disloyal, to the original program that they thought about implementing, or strategy that they were supposed to be in line with last year, if they have to pivot hard and to improve profitability. So
Yeah.
I think same thing. These it's only a headline for now, but it's a headline that doesn't allow us to really, explore all the dynamic of their relationship. These two men can very easily still, be friends. They'll still, have an opportunity sometime down the line to maybe regroup. Um, and should they do that, you know, um, that's always an option available. I think that that Nick is in the process of sorting some very important things out. You know, I know what it's like to go to the Olympia. You know, this is the biggest show of your career, and 2 days before the show, your coach, you know, uh, you know, Weeder, the Olympia, sat down, had this great meeting, and it's like, oh snap, I might get this is about to happen. I'm about to get the green light. Everything that's been going up in press prior to this show has been an invite. You've been welcomed into the good graces of the industry, and now your career is
Yeah.
where you were once the butt of the joke. Now people are calling you by your last name first. You went from being Mr. Grapefruit guy to Mr. Green, and it's like, wow, this is really about to happen. I don't want to mess this up. I'm so excited. I want to do my best at the show. And everything that you've been doing is just getting you ready for this one moment. You have everything invested in just one performance. And something happens, some two or three things happen in your hotel room 2 3 days before the show happens, you're on stage, and you're not in the first call out, but you look around, okay, hold on, stand up, stay hard, hold on, keep it together, wait a minute, you're not in the second call out. And it's like, Houston, we have a problem. And it's like, now, okay, here you are, it's the third call out, but this is not good. This is not good. Everything that I've done all year, I was in shape before I was supposed to be in shape. I've drained this, I slept this, I breathed this. I was this is not supposed to happen like this, and it does. When the smoke clears and the dust settles, you're outside of the top where you expect it to be. But not only that, you're not even where your supplement company expected you to be as
Damn.
well. And guess what? That means that next year, the year's not even over yet. And when your contract comes up for renewal, you got real questions to answer. You got real people in your household that are looking at you going, yo, man, so how's this thing gonna work out? And you're like, it's going to work out this way. How will you justify spending all this time in the gym training? How will you justify spending all this time, getting yourself together mentally to be on top of your game to continue to advance as an athlete that's ready to cut them down in battle? I do this. I believe in this. I'm invested in anyway. Long story short, yeah, man, it's very,
Yeah.
very, very tough. Monday.
It's all Oscar's fault, man. Just blame it on Oscar.
No.
We gotta find that guy, man. We gotta find Oscar, bro. We gotta go look for him. All right, Kai. We have a lightning round of questions. All
Yes,
right. So
yes,
you remember the rules, right? One question and a 1 minute answer. Yeah.
yes. Let's get it.
All right. And today our questions are brought to us by a new sponsor, G Fuel. Very happy for that. All right, Kai. So
Oh snap! Shout out to G Fuel. Let's go. Yes, yes.
all right. So the first question that was submitted to us is by Remember Tank 012. That's an interesting question, Kai. I know you're gonna like that one. So he's asking, you think, Kai, you can beat Phil Heath in a fist fight? How about Sean Ray? How about them together at the same time?
Oh man. Well, I mean, honestly, I have a tremendous amount of respect for.
For which one? So can you beat him in a fist fight, Phil Heath or Sean Ray? What do you think? That's the question. I got, we got to answer it.
Man, I wouldn't even entertain a question like that.
Don't want
It's
to
like,
answer, okay?
are you kidding? You know what I would look like,
It'd be a crazy clip, right?
And you know what I would look like even. First of all, Sean Ray is a dude. I mean, I remember being a kid
You're not mad at
looking
him
at,
anymore for that article?
huh?
You're no longer mad at him for that article?
There you go, man.
But it's funny how time
Man.
heals everything, right? Like time just you kind of forget about things that you were upset about. I'm just saying.
Well, you know what is exactly my point. This is why, like, for two personalities, in the spotlight, like Nick Walker and his
Coach, yeah.
ex-coach. This is why to hear what they say
Come on,
is
Kai.
is almost
It's too
unfair,
soon. Too
because
soon. Come
it's,
on.
hey, no, 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 no. I think there's a lot to be said for when a man declares, openly, hey man, I gotta go a different route. He was unsatisfied with the route that he's taken, and there's a lot to be said for respecting that. He has to have his own peace of mind. I remember, man, I'm telling you, I remember going to the Olympia, spent all these years trying to develop the ticket to get there. I remember going to that dance and not being invited, and finally you got the invite to the dance. You had the meeting with Weeder. Everything is looking like, man, this is about to open up, open sesame. And hey man, we made some miscalculations that ultimately I was going to have to answer for as the athlete. I am the person that is as responsible for answering for what happens to my my ship. I'm the captain. Doesn't matter who, you know, what credentialing we want to give, to the reputable name of the coach, and it doesn't matter what kind of negatives you may not want his business to
Right.
sustain or be hit with. But yo, man, at the end of that, if first call out, we were always working for the first call out. And now, through some miscalculations, we are well outside of that. We find ourselves well outside of that. And the truth is, no matter what anybody can say, the only person that has to stand on that stage in front of everyone, I don't care what you say later on in the comfort of your own home, on your own camera, trying to be diplomatic and responsible in the best effort that even a well-meaning, high value personality coach can do, in saying, hey, well, I take responsibility for what happened. The truth is, you are not the athlete that had to stand on stage at the biggest Super Bowl event of our sport and take that egg on the face, and
Man.
then have to be asked the question over and over again in the heart of every fan, every enthusiast, even other companies that potentially were looking at you as maybe someone to invest in an effort to continue to help your campaign advance forward. And like, hey man, what happened? What do you say? You got to answer that. You have to answer that. And it's not unfair to imagine that can sit in the soul of the man. You know, ah, you can, you got to choke back some tears sometimes and think about that. It is the most uncomfortable position that you could possibly find yourself in. As the athlete that is committed to improving your game and trying to come in there and come in there and hey, all right, brother. Respect. Oh man.
So I assume you didn't fly Oscar first class to the Olympia, right? How about this? How about this? You only got to pay for the first class if you get on the first call out. That's a good rule, right?
Oh, but see, that's the thing. You don't have a barter in the system like that. You don't have a barter in that.
I know, I
You
know.
make your arrangements and stuff. And the truth is, you have to answer for everything that you do. The ends justify the means, and sometimes they don't.
All right, Kai,
Sometimes they don't.
We have two more questions, man. I don't know how we got from fighting Phil Heath to this, but anyway, let's go to the next question. All right, the next one is from Forever Flexing. This one is kind of you gotta help me understand it a little bit. So Forever Flexing is asking, if you could make one food or meal calorie free on all your preps, what would it be? So one food, regardless of calorie, that you would eat on all your prep, what would it be?
One food calorie free.
Calorie free means you can eat, I guess, as much as you want of it, but just one.
Honestly, you know what? I used to struggle with the process of getting ready. I remember eating ice cream. I remember eating
I
ice
remember that.
cream
Yeah,
on season, off season. On season I wouldn't touch it.
you were
You
addicted.
know, but off season, man, I put it down by the half gallon and have to go back and get another half, and then before you know it, 2 gallons in, and it's like I feel terrible. But I loved eating ice cream, and now I had to follow that with two large pizza pies, and it was like, yo, I'm a train tomorrow hard like a beast. I'm
Oh my
strong as hell in
god.
the gym, but I was at the very, very, very earlier stages of my
You ate two pizza
developing journey.
pies?
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, man, I used to
Two pizza
be,
pies. Wow.
and it didn't matter that I was lactose intolerant. Now
Oh my god.
we used to put it down. I'm telling you. But I'm saying all of this to say that when it came time to get into the throes of deep contest prep, and I had to say goodbye to those things. The most difficult thing that I used to wrestle with was the ideas that I would talk about being addicted to food, the taste. Oh man, I can't. And I would cry about it while I'd be doing my. But once I got focused on like focusing on being successful, elevating my career, being the physique that I wanted to be on stage, and recognize that the way to do that was through my eating and controlling that, managing that more effectively. At the end of the day, that was just something I drudged through, got it done, and kept moving. The idea of being able to be a successful athlete is not determined by my genetics. Forget the genetics. Patreon, what's up? Forget the genetics. Forget the genetics. We're now just talking about decisions, the power of our choices. So that all of that said, there was a time when I had to learn, and I understood that there's a very powerful sword that you wield when you're able to control your thinking and use that over, asserting your dominion over, the things that you eat and the want to eat them. So, long story short, I got to a place where I used to fight for it, but I got to the place where I was able to control that. And I had some interesting stories about how I got to it. But with all of that said, I want to say to you that at this stage in my life and career, so many, many years later, I stopped counting, my process of prep and things, at 20 years. As sure as I am sitting here in front of you, I've now come to the place of understanding that it's been well much more than that. The time that I have invested in this game as an athlete, as a training enthusiast, and contest prep and bodybuilding practitioner of my own um, elevated sense of what it means to be a craftsman in this game. And that said, yeah, man, I don't care about the way food tastes now. Whether I'm
Oh,
on contest prep or eating normally, it's all just eating normally for me now. I don't, you know, and I think that that's kind of like a rites of passage that now looking back on it, I realize is something that many may want to work toward attaining because that is you're not controlled by your addiction to food or you're not controlled by your desire to claim that food or anything has dominion over you like you're a champion not because of your genetics but because of your choices. So I say all of that to say like yeah nah, it doesn't matter to me if I was focused on getting ready to be my best right now I just want to do that and whatever I had to do on the program that I determined was the specific way that I needed to eat for the extended periods of time that I needed to do that it would just that's just what it is. It's not a I don't care about hey does this taste oh this is so good I love it like it's not like training your entire body. You have to love training your entire body. Not like, well, I just love training legs or I love training back. Like because to be a physique artist and a bodybuilding athlete at the top of the game, you really have to. You can't just love training arms. You know. So when it comes down to training the other body parts, I'm like, I don't know, it's just a little drudgery. But now when it comes to arms, hey, I just love arm, 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 arm. Nah, man, you have to love everything equally, or just be even across the board because you need to train everything even across the board. And sometimes you may need to train some body parts more. You may need more volume, to overcome some set points or sticking points in even your development. So yeah, nah, I don't.
got it. All right. Okay, we have last question. This one is a Patreon special because it's controversial and we're gonna get flagged for it. All right, Kai. I think we're out of time, man. Thank you so much for answering these questions. I know people are gonna be excited to hear your answers. And what are you about to go to the gym right now? Where are you?
Actually, I'm still on my way home.
Oh man, sorry.
It's been a long journey, brother, but I feel so much better for it.
Well, great seeing you, man. Till next time. I wish you nothing but the best.
Likewise, V.
All right, brother.
Okay, on this note, I guess we're going to bring this show to a close. So thankful For each and every one that's tuned in, I want to encourage you to continue to fight the good fight, whatever that fight is for you. Real talk, your achievement, your success, your failure belongs to you. Succeed, succeed, succeed. Until next time, let's keep it positive. Let's keep encouraging each other. And the Green Effect is over and out.
Peace.
Peace.